of an experimental variant of Pfizer's and BioNTech's COVID vaccine called BNT162C2. This variant is different from BNT162B2, which many of you have heard of, in that it requires no second dose due to its unique ability in its mRNA structure to self-amplify itself. It's a special type of mRNA called samRNA, or self-amplifying mRNA. Anyway, I was injected with a 0.6 microgram dose of this variant, which was on the higher end of the dose escalation trial. And then I was monitored for the next 4 hours at a research ward in Mannheim, where I was being held. I woke up next morning. I was let go of after these 4 hours were up. But I woke up next morning feeling tired, but nothing out of the ordinary, except for there were strange bruises on my vaccine arm, which I can still show you to this day. Here. They still have a numb feeling to them. Strangely, I thought nothing much of them at the time, because I had been given because I thought nothing much of it at the time, because I am a university student who has exams to give. But during my next visit to the ward, I brought it up, thinking it's significant. However, the doctors and nurses there simply ignored me and said it had nothing to do with the vaccine, reassuringly. A few months passed and the bruises didn't go away. In fact, they grew and got worse. I woke up one morning, in the morning of my exam, not feeling great. However, I dredged by, and I dragged my bicycle through the dirty and muddy, rainy roads early in the morning to get to my exam hall, because during COVID-19, obviously, all the exams are being held at remote exam halls. I gave my exam and got back home. As I collapsed in my bed, I noticed something strange happening. I felt like I was losing control of my mind. I had tunnel vision. And this is when I went into my first ever panic attack. I have no idea if this was due to the vaccine, but given that it had never happened before and the vaccine had been injected in me 2 months prior to this, I have reason to suspect that it was due to the vaccine. But I didn't bother complaining about it to my research ward on account of them not caring and ignoring me the first time. We were given a complaints booklet, but that was taken away from us after the first 40 days had passed. And we weren't given any other book to write complaints in. Anyway, after this panic attack, a few months passed, and I was on a flight in January of 2021, middle of January, on my way back to Frankfurt airport. There is a video of that flight on my YouTube channel as well if you want to check it out. On the flight, in the cabin, I started to feel radiating pain from the bruises, side of the bruises. It felt as if the side of the bruises on my forearm here. It felt as if there was a piece of glass stuck underneath my skin. It was very painful, but luckily I was the only one on the plane, as you can see in my other videos. And the plane was empty otherwise. And I had the whole cabin, whole aisle to myself, so I could sleep off the pain. Another month would pass, and in February of 2021, New York Times would finally write an article titled, "A few COVID vaccine recipients have developed a rare blood disorder." Finally, I thought, this is what I have. It resonated with me. I was, as you can imagine, when you're one of the only people in the world with a condition, Google is not very helpful, and there's no other place to go to. Especially in the middle of a pandemic where all the doctors are hiding somewhere. Anyway, New York Times wrote this article titled, "A few COVID vaccine recipients have developed a rare blood disorder." Also linked in the description. But I would finally have some reference to what was happening with me. In the article linked in the description below, New York Times mentions people waking up with bruises on their arms after receiving the first vaccine dose. And this was exactly what happened to me.